was hungry and he gave me meat. I was thirsty and he gave me drink. I was a stranger and he took me in. This family has endured through adversity and pain. We have endured. We have prevailed. We'll never, ever go hungry again. Amen.
What's going on, everybody? This is Bronco Juggalo, and it is time for another Texas Chainsaw Massacre review. Today we are doing the 2006 film Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. Now this is the prequel to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, directed by Jonathan Lieberman, I think is how you pronounce it, and starring Jordan Brewster as our main girl, Chrissy. You may remember Jordan Brewster from the Fast and Furious films. Also, she was in The Faculty, so she does have a bit of a horror background as well. Returning as Sheriff Hoyt, also known as Charlie Hewitt, is Arlie Ermey. And returning as Leatherface, or Tommy Hewitt, we have Andrew Bryniarski. I can never pronounce that. In 1939, a woman working in a slaughterhouse dies giving birth on the slaughterhouse floor. She gives birth to a deformed child who the manager of the slaughterhouse picks up, wraps in paper, and throws in a dumpster. Years later, that baby, raised as Thomas Hewitt, kills the same manager that threw him in the dumpster, and a legend is born. This movie was originally called The Origin, and just to be able to get this movie made, New Line Cinema had to drop another $3.1 million to the people who originally owned the rights to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because Dimension Films stepped in and said, hey, we'll give you guys this much money when the rights revert back to you, if we can have it. So when the rights reverted back after the contract was done, New Line had to kick in an extra $3 million to keep the rights. And since that was done to make this film, it automatically took it to a $16 million budget, making it one of the more expensive films in this franchise to make. Now, it also only grossed $51 million. So a lot of people do consider it a failure in the box office, especially following the success of the first remake. Pros and cons time, guys. This movie really got panned hard by the critics. Starting with my cons, one of the things that I didn't like about this one as much compared to the remake is that a lot of this film is done during the day. A lot of this film takes place during the day. And I don't think it has the same effect. And I said that back with the original movie as well. I prefer these films to take place more at night. I really do. But that's just a kind of a thing with me in any horror movie for the most part. Very few do I feel have that oomph to take care of things during the day. And that's not a slam on these movies. I just prefer dark horror movies. That's just me. My next con is that I feel that the film would have been served better if Marcus Nispel would have came back as director. I really like Marcus Nispel as a director. I think he's extremely underrated. And I think he did a great job not only on the original, but also on the Friday the 13th remake. And I really wish they would have brought him back for this one. I think that if they would have brought him back for this, it would have done better. I feel that the directing in the film is not quite as good as it was in the original movie. I think they tried to copy a lot of what he did, and it didn't really work as well. My next con is some of the acting is not great. Some of the acting from the supporting cast members, like Dean and his little girlfriend, isn't great. The fat tea lady is back, and I really don't know why, except to use her blubber to block a door. And her acting is just so-so, not even as good as it was in the original. It really seemed like the lady was just there to collect the paycheck this time. That's really the only cons I have for this film, guys. Overall, this is a film that I really, truly enjoy. It's one of the better ones in the franchise, in my opinion. Getting to my pros, I really like that we get backstory. Not only on Leatherface, but also on Charlie Hewitt, or Sheriff Hoyt. We find out that he becomes Sheriff Hoyt by killing the real Sheriff Hoyt when they go to arrest Tommy and or Leatherface for the murder of the slaughterhouse manager. I like that we get some backstory on why they revert to cannibalism. It's because, things are going to shit, and they want to survive. They don't want to leave. And Charles Hewitt, who had served in Korea, was a POW, and he was forced to eat human flesh. So he kind of developed a taste for it, and he knows that they can live on it. And not just live on it, but live pretty good, and it's mighty tasty. I like those backstories. I like that we get a little more backstory on Thomas Hewitt, on Leatherface. That he did try to have a normal life. That he did go to work, and he did go to school. He was bullied mercilessly, but he did try to have a normal life. Big pro this one shares with the original, R. Lee Ermey. Once again, R. Lee Ermey is just spot on fantastic. I don't know if it's quite as impactful as it was during the first movie, but that's because during the first movie we were just seeing it for the first time. Here, it's just a very good continuation of what he did there. I do think that the dinner scene with the prayers was just freaking amazing. I love that scene. I think that R. Lee Ermey carries it, and I think he does a great job. Another big pro is Leatherface, Andrew Bryanarski. And I forgot to mention this in my last review. Did you know that that's the same guy that played Chip in Batman Returns? Chip Schreck, Max Schreck's son. The tall, good-looking blonde guy? Yeah, that's Leatherface. I always thought that was funny, and I forgot to mention it last. My last pro is that this movie really matches the brutality of the first. It's very, very brutal. It's very bloody. It's very gory, and I love every second of that. I don't think that this movie did anything to truly further the franchise, and that's not a slap against it. It wasn't supposed to, I guess, because it is a prequel. But I do think that it just gave us another good, fun movie to sit back and watch. The thing about these Texas Chainsaw Massacre films, in all of them, with the exception of maybe the original, you don't have to think about them. Just sit back and enjoy them. Now, I know I say that, and I know you're going to say, well, what about TCM2, man? Why can't you just... I just can't get past it, guys. I just can't. I try. I truly try every year to watch that movie at least once a year and try to like it, and I just can't. It's too dumb. It's too stupid. Overall, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise is a really good franchise. It's not my favorite franchise in horror, but it is a really good one, and it's one I enjoy. And I enjoy Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning quite a bit. This is actually going to be a pretty tough franchise to rank for me, I think. There's some that I already know are my bottom, and ones that I know that are my top. But all the ones in the middle, it's going to be tough to do, so we'll see where this one ends up. Well, guys, there's only 2 more movies in this franchise review before I get to the ranking. Coming up next, we got Texas Chainsaw, or Texas Chainsaw 3D. I don't have it on 3D, so I'm just going to watch the regular. And then we have the 2017 Leatherface, both of which I'm looking forward to reviewing. This is Bronco Juggalo saying, everybody have a great day, have a great night, peace.
You blasphemous bitch! Maniac. 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 Maniac.